Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is Anglo-Norman Kingship. The kings or queens who reign in this period, we'll learn about them. From Norman conquest to the birth of Chaucer, 1066 to 1340, we take this period as Anglo-Norman period. So, today we'll discuss the kings who reigned in this time. Actually, Middle English period is a vast area. So if we take all the kings and queens during the Middle English period, there is no queens of course, there are all many kings. Then it will be very difficult for us to understand. So I just part by part discuss the kingship. And we know William the First, the William the Conqueror, in the Battle of Hastings, who defeated the British army and became the King of Britain, William of Normandy. And he had one daughter and two sons. William the second, Henry the one. And again, in this flowchart, you can see that Adela had one son, Stephen. Henry the first, William the second has no son. Henry the first, daughter Matilda. Matilda's son, Henry the second. Okay. So, what happened next? William the first king of Anglo-Norman period. From 1066 to 1087. He was nicknamed the Conqueror after defeating the last Saxon king Harold II at the Battle of Hastings. Now after him, his first son, just keep this chart in mind, then it will be better to remember, more easy. After William the First, there comes William the Second. Okay? And when William the Second came, he reigned from 1087 to 1100. He was the son of William the First and Matilda of Flanders. His original name was William the Rufus. He ascended the throne as William the Second. Okay? He did not marry. He died during a hunt. Now Henry the First. Who was Henry the First? Again go to the chart. Henry the First was the second son of William the First. So, Henry the First, the second son of William the First and Matilda of Flanders, and the brother of William the Second. Henry the First had no son. We know that he has a daughter Matilda. Beautiful name. His daughter was named Matilda. When he died, Matilda's son was 2 years old. Matilda, I think, is also a book by Roald Dahl. Matilda. Yes, Matilda is a book by Roald Dahl, for children's book, it's there. Okay, no more digression. That's why his nephew Stephen, Adela's son, took the throne. So keep this point in mind that after Henry the First died, he had no son, but his daughter Matilda's son was too younger. So too young to sit in the throne. So who sit there? His nephew, that is Adela's son, Stephen. Go to the chart. Henry the First, after his death, Matilda's son Henry II cannot take the throne because he was too little. So Adela's son Stephen took the throne. And now go to the point again. Stephen from 1135 to 1154. He was the son of Adela, daughter of William the First and Matilda of Flanders. When Henry the First died, his grandson Henry II was only 2 years old. That's why his nephew Stephen, Adela's son, owned the throne. As he was appointed as king over Henry the First daughter Matilda, it led to civil war. Because everyone did not support this matter that Adela's son Stephen will be king. Some person supported Matilda's son. So in this verse there is some confusion and some disagreement. Okay. Henry the Second, 1154 to 1189. With Henry the Second, that is start of Plantagenet house, son of Matilda, Henry the First daughter. He wanted to control the Roman Catholic Church, and that led to the conflict with Thomas Becket. We all know about Thomas Becket, and we will again read about Thomas Becket when we will read Canterbury Tales. He was the Archbishop of Canterbury. Later, Becket was murdered in 1170 by King's follower in Canterbury Cathedral. There is some controversial dispute regarding this matter, that actually King did not tell his followers to murder him, but they do that mystically. Some misunderstanding, miscommunication maybe. But anyway, Archbishop of Canterbury Thomas Becket died at the head of Henry II's followers. He established a strong kingship and introduced systematic trial system. Okay, after Henry II, you can see he had Richard I, his eldest son, and then John, and John has so many descendants. Richard I, 1189 to 99. They just reigned for this minimum period, from 10, some are 5, very little time they spent in the throne. He was nicknamed Lionheart for his bravery in the War of Crusades. Okay, keep it in mind that which king was called the Lionheart and why. That Richard I was called Lionheart for his bravery in the War of Crusades. He spent most of his time in the Crusades. What is Crusade? A series of wars fought between Christians and Muslims over the issue of control over the Holy Land and Jerusalem. And after that, John I. As we see that in the chart, that Richard I had no heir. So after he died, John I took the throne. 1189 to 1216. He was the youngest son of King Henry II. He was denounced as a bad king. To reduce his power, Baron in charge drew up a document named Magna Carta. Very, very important point, that Magna Carta, signed during the reign of which king? Magna Carta was signed during the reign of John I in 1215 and forced him to sign it to ensure that the king was not above the law. This was the first step towards democracy. Next, John I and then Henry III. So who is Henry III? Go to chart, Henry III. After John, Henry III. Okay. So this chart, this flowchart will help you to proceed chronologically. Henry III, 1216 to 1272. He became king at the age of 9 years. You can think, my son's age is 9 years. Okay, anyway, he rules for 56 years. Just now I was telling that they cannot rule for a long time, only 10 years, 9 years. So now we get a king who just get appointed and in the throne in 9 years and rule for 56 years. He set up the magnificent Westminster Abbey. During his reign, the Dominican and Franciscan friars began to arrive in England. So everywhere there is breach, there is division in every religion and even in among the priests. So Dominican and Franciscan, two types of priests, they began to arrive in England. And Roger Bacon, you have heard the name of Roger Bacon. Roger Bacon, the greatest scientist of that age, he was a Franciscan friar. So after Henry the First, third, we get Edward the First. Go to chart. Yes, there is Edward the First. 1272 to 1307. Parliament began to develop during his time. Already the way was paved when? With the Magna Carta. With the Magna Carta, the democracy, the first step toward democracy was just fixed. So now Parliament began to develop during this time. He used to arrange meetings among nobles and churchmen at regular intervals. Actually, what it is, that king's voice is not the ultimate truth. Everyone can participate and take part in the processing of ruling, take part in the and give their opinions in regulating and ruling the country. So that is called democracy. In 1295, Model Parliament, very, very important, the first parliament, that is Model Parliament, 1295. It said the model for later parliament. Now, Edward I tried to conquer Scotland and became the king of Scotland, but he could not conquer Scotland from Robert Bruce of Scotland. We all know the Robert Bruce story, the spider story. The spider, Robert Bruce became failed and frustrated. He saw the spider going again and again, did not lose hope. So he also tried. In our childhood, we read, of course, about Robert Bruce. During his reign, particularly this story about Robert Bruce and the spider. During his reign, Wales was brought under English control and his son was named Prince of Wales. Okay, so that is the important point to keep in mind, that Prince of Wales, who were called Prince of Wales, the descendants of Edward I. Now Edward II, 1307 to 1327. He also tried to conquer Scotland but was defeated in the famous Battle of Bannockburn in the hands of again Robert Bruce. Edward II married Isabella, daughter of French King Philip IV. Now this is very important because it will lead to the 100 Years' War. Edward II married daughter of French King Philip IV. So England married France. So England married France, and England now wants to be France, to take the control of France. Let's see. The greatest writer of Middle English period, Chaucer, 1340 to 1400, born during the reign of Edward III. So this period is a transition period between the Anglo-Norman period and the age of Chaucer. Okay. Now we'll go to Edward III. So when we will read about Chaucer's kingship, we also have to start from here. So that's why I mentioned this thing. That this is a transition period between Anglo-Norman period and the age of Chaucer. In Anglo-Norman period, we also get Edward III, and when again we will read about Chaucer, we will get Edward III. So from Edward III, in era begin and era stop. So Edward III is very important. Edward III, 1327 to 77. He was the son of Edward II and Isabella. We already know that Edward II married France. After his father's death, he took England's throne, but at the same time, he claimed the maternal throne in France. That's why 100 Years were started, when he tried to conquer Normandy. So what happened? In that time, Edward III, he take the throne of his fathers, that is Edward II. Okay, but at the same time, French throne was not occupied. So he felt that as my mother is from that country, so I can also have control over that country. But their people did not understand that and did not grant that. So a long-term war started, a dragging war that just drained England and French economically, socially, and politically. Edward III's eldest son, Edward the Black Prince, died in the battleground. Now, reason of 100 Years War. we already discussed it in details. Anyway, Philip IV of France, his descendants. So Isabella married Edward II. Edward II, their son Edward III. Okay, you can see the graph, the flowchart. Edward III claimed the throne of France as his mother Isabella was the daughter of Philip IV of France. This was the direct reason of 100 Years War. They started in 1337 and dragged till 1453. During this reign, the concept of chivalry was populated with the stories of King Arthur and the Round Table. Okay, so with Edward III, we end this period. Read in an organized way and systematically and thoroughly. Okay, share and subscribe if you like my channel. Thank you.